Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to actually build our turtle race game. So it's pretty interesting because this is actually going to introduce you to a few different, uses of, the turtle module. And at the same time, it's going to introduce you to a new concept, or not a new concept, but the concept of using multiple objects. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do, let's actually go back. I have an empty new project. We're going to import the turtle. So I'm just going to say from turtle import, and we're going to import two things: the turtle class, and also we're going to import the screen class. All right. Screen function. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and build our first object. So I'm just going to say Tim equals turtle. So that way, again, we got our first object here, and screen as well. This is our new one, the screen object. All right. So just go ahead and do that. Now, one of the things that the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually create that white window, right? Now, this is actually very important because if you think about this turtle race, and it's a bunch of turtles basically racing. One of the ways to actually measure who is the winner here is that the way we actually do this by measuring when a turtle is going to reach a certain spot on the screen. So for that to actually work, we need to actually have our screen size set, meaning that we need to have a specific amount of screen or real estate on the window. Specifically, we need to exactly say how much we want this screen size to be, so that way we can actually measure all the different points on the screen correctly. So the way you do this is that if you actually go back to the turtle module documentation, there's a thing called setup. So the setup is essentially going to allow you to give screen a size. All right. So it's very simple. You got a width and a height, and again, you got a couple other parameters which doesn't matter at the moment. But again, like we just got to use these two to set up the size of our screen. All right. So let's actually just add a screen on exit on click as well, so that way it doesn't immediately close off. But anyway, so we're just gonna say screen. And we're going to say setup, right? That's the method. And we're going to say width, or actually width. All right, so that's going to be the width of the screen. So in this case, we're going to go 500 by 400. All right, so we're going to do a width of 500 and a height of 400. All right, so we're just going to do that. So now if I run this, we're going to get a very small screen of 500 by 400. Now, this is a very important thing because when we get to the coordinates, you'll understand why this is very important to set up before you actually do anything. All right. So another thing that if you remember, when the app opens, when the game opens, the first thing that it asks the user is to input tell who is going to actually win. So this is a text input system in the turtle package, and you can actually search for it. It's called text input. There you go. So the text input essentially is going to it's a very simple one, by the way. So it's gonna, again, turtle.text input and the title and the prompt. So the title is the title of it, and the prompt is exactly like the question you're asking. All right. So again, let's go ahead and put this as well. So screen and text input, and we're going to say title equals, and I'm just going to say guess, and let's actually say prompt, and we're going to say who's going to win. All right, so let's run this one more time and take a look at what we have so far. So there you go. And then again, we got the turtle, and then we got this thing that says who's going to win, and then again we can put a color or whatever. All right, anyways, so that is pretty much it. But one thing, if you think about it, this is basically the turtle version of the basic Python input, right? So with that being said, we need to actually put this inside a variable so we can actually use it later on, right? So this is user bet. I'm going to just put it inside a variable, and just like that, we can actually access this later. So if I actually print this user bit, and like there you go. So I'm just gonna say, for example, blue, and take a look. We're gonna get blue down here. So again, the reason I wanted to show you this is that it basically is like the user input of the Python, right? So anyways, so that's that. All right, so next step here is to actually, get our turtle to, create these turtles, right? So the next step is to actually create 6 turtles that are going to be spawned on certain areas in the screen and moved to, the left side. All right, so again, there's a lot going on here, okay? And I want you guys to understand. So the first thing I want to do is I want to actually create the colors for these different turtles that we're going to spawn. So I'm going to say colors equals, and we're going to create a list, and we're going to, I'm just going to kind of bring the list, copy it right here, and we're just going to drop it right there. There you go. So again, these are the predefined colors of the, turtles that we are going to create. So to actually do this, think about what we're trying to do here. Okay, so we're going to create turtles. Okay, so create turtle. All right, so we're going to change the color each, right? And then we're going to actually, we're going to move them to the left side. All right, so a few things you want to remember about this. Again, the first one is that we need to use a for loop. All right, so I'm going to use a for loop for, and then we're going to say turtle index, okay, in range and 0 to 6. The reason I actually use the range 0 to 6 is that, again, obviously the first number doesn't count. So like we get actually 5, right? So we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basically, right? So we got 6 items. So that's basically the 6 turtles that we're going to spawn, right? Next one is we actually need to actually change the shape. So I'm just going to say Tim equals turtle, and we're going to say shape equals turtle. All right, so now we got our shape at least. All right, so let's actually run this and take a look at this. So we got like the turtle shape at least. Now what is happening right now, if you take a look, is that it's not moving, but what is happening is that it's spawning 6 of these turtles on top of each other, which is very interesting because again, it's just like putting them on top of each other. All right, so now let's actually change the colors. And again, if I actually add the color, you're going to see exactly what I mean. So like Tim color, and then we're going to say colors, and we're going to access the index here. There you go. So just like that, again, we can actually change the color. And if again run this again, you're going to see, there you go, the colors change like consistently throughout the this whole thing that it was running. All right, so that's what we have here. Now the next one is actually we need to actually move these things, right? So there's this method called goTo, and the goTo method is going to move the turtle into a certain coordinate on the screen. And this is why the coordinates are very, very important. So let me tell you how you actually find the coordinates. So, if you remember, our screen size is 500 by 400, all right? So let me actually draw this for you. So we got a screen of 500. Oh, that's a bad drawing. All right. So we got a screen of 500 by 400, all right? So we got 500 here, and then we got 400 here. All right, perfect. So the way turtle graphics coordinates work is that in the middle of the screen, right here in middle, that's the coordinate of 0 and 0. All right. And then you can actually measure exactly how this whole thing works. So for example, from here to here, right, we got 250. And again, the reason this is 250 is that because we got a total width of 500, right? So divided by 2 is going to be 250. And from here to here, we got 2 minus 250. And again, same goes for this side. So we got from here to here, from top to the center, we got 200. Again, the reason we got 200 is that because we have a total of 400 here. And then from like middle to bottom, we got minus 200. So that's basically how these things are drawn. All right. So now if I actually want to move something maybe here, what I need to do is maybe move it to minus 230 and, minus, 40 or like 50 or something, actually 60 or something, right? So that is how you move things around. So if I actually go back here and I'm going to say Tim go to, right? And then we're going to see X is going to equal minus 230, right? And because again, that's the side. And then Y is going to be equal, let's say minus 100. All right. So if you run this, take a look at what happens here. There you go. So we moved all of them to these things, right? To this side. So that's working. Let's actually have the pen up so we don't actually draw anything. Tim, pen up. There you go. Pen up. There you go. So again, that way just we don't actually draw anything. There you go. There you go. So yeah, so we don't draw it. Anyways, so that's that. Now we're moving these turtles into, the side like, you saw in the initial video of the section where I was showing the completed version. But now we actually have to just, make sure we put them in different steps, right? So how can we do this? So there are a few different ways to actually achieve this. For example, one of the ways to do this, I've seen people do this, is to create a separate list of coordinates and just have it cycle through these coordinates. That's one way of doing it. But I have a more efficient way of doing this, and that is the fact that you can actually, because again, this is a for loop, it's running this each time, right? So you can actually have it add something, a number, to this existing coordinate each time it runs this. Very simple, right? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say plus, I'm going to say, call this, the existing, this is going to be the number. And the reason we call this turtle index is that because when this starts, it's going to start at 0, right? And then we're going to say the times 40, for example. So what is going to happen, let me exactly explain what is going to happen, is that when we start, we're going to start 0 times 40, again, it's going to be 0, right? And then again, plus the 100, it's going to be minus 100. So the initial step is going to be my initial, the coordinate is going to be minus 100. But the next one is going to be number 1, right? Because again, this is from 0 to 5, right? So it's going to be 1 times 40, it's going to be 40. And again, and when you add it to minus 40, we're going to get a minus 60, right? So again, and so on and so forth. Every time this for loop is going to run, it's going to add this and get a new result. So just like that, we can actually, move them to different locations. Take a look. If I actually run this, there you go. We just get them to run and go to different places. Just like that, guys, we were able to solve this problem using a simple code. So that is pretty much it for the first step. And the next one, actually, right now we have everything set up, right? The next step is actually get it to move forward, all right? And also determine how do we actually determine a winner exactly? What happens that is, create these random movements, and also explain how, define the conditions of the win of the game, basically. So with that being said, that's something we're going to do in the next lesson. So let me know if you have any questions, guys, so far. If not, I'll see you in the next video.